Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, as you all know, I'm always fascinated by how much technology has transformed every aspect of our lives in a relatively short space of time. For example, we only need to go back as far as 2007 when the first iPhone was released, before a tablet or an iPad was even a concept. Back then, we typically had a laptop or a computer connected to our home Wi-Fi, and probably very little else. And adding that newly released iPhone to our home network was just the beginning and a real game-changer moment. And for the older listeners, how many of you remember this noise? Does that mean anything to you? For you kids listening, this was a manual device that you plugged into the wall and also plugged in your lamp. It contained a dial of every minute of the day, and you pulled down some little tabs that would determine when your home light would come on and when it would go off. Incredibly primitive, and it wasn't that long ago we were still using these. For most people, of course, those days are now gone, and I now have a TP-Link plug that allows me to say, "Alexa, turn on my living room lamp," and then I giggle like a naughty schoolboy and convince myself that I'm living out my fantasy as one of the Jetsons. And when I go away, I can be on the other side of the world and still manage my home lighting from that app. And after an incredibly hot summer here in the UK, a TP-Link Wi-Fi extender allowed me to work in my garden and top up my George Hamilton-inspired tan. But when I looked around at my devices and saw two of them belonging to TP-Link, I thought maybe I should ask them on the show. Thankfully, they said yes. So if you would want to explore how far tech has come and hear more about TP-Link, buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Reading here in the UK so we can speak with Emma and Clive from TP-Link. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, my name's Emma. I'm part of the marketing team at TP-Link. I've been working with the business for the last 7 years, pretty much since it started in the UK. So I've seen the industry grow quite a bit during that time, as you can imagine. And with me is my colleague Clive.
Hi guys, my name is Clive Fernandez. I work with our technical support team here in the UK office. Have been working with the company for more than 1 year and well versed with most of our technical products.
Fantastic. Now, founded in 1996, TP-Link is a global provider of reliable networking devices and accessories involved in all aspects of everyday life. And I must admit, I've had one of your devices in the past to strengthen my Wi-Fi so I can surf and work in the garden during the summer months. But can you just set the scene and tell me a little bit more about the story behind TP-Link and the changes that you guys have seen along the way?
Certainly. So, as you say, founded in 1996. It's originally a Chinese company founded by two brothers. TP actually stands for Twisted Pair, as in the cabling that goes into Ethernet cables. Their background is very, very strong in technical engineering. The business has rapidly expanded throughout the world, servicing something like 200 countries now with TP-Link products. Originally, we were very strong in consumer products, Ethernet products, and this has rapidly expanded into the business world as well. And you may be aware that we're also entering the smart home market as well, which is a natural progression for us, which we may talk about later.
I'm glad you mentioned smart homes there, because our homes have now got more connected devices than an office did 10 years ago. But of course, the average household doesn't have access to an IT department. So whether we're streaming, gaming online, or running a smart home, can you tell me more about how TP-Link is actually going to help users so they never actually have to worry about the Wi-Fi in their home?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we all know, technology can be baffling sometimes. So we've worked really, really hard to develop apps that work with your router. Obviously, routers kind of sit in the corner and hopefully just do their thing, but occasionally you have to tinker with them, and using an app via your phone makes it accessible. You don't have to log on to the router, all those sort of things, but it also gives you access to an awful lot of other features like quality of service, so that you can allocate bandwidth to various devices. So for example, if you're wanting to watch your favorite film on Netflix, you can increase the chances of a whole film film streaming without any kind of buffering. You can also do that kind of fancy quality of service for gamers. That's a very big market for people at the moment. And of course, you have on there parental controls as well, which means that you can, through the router, not necessarily through the individual device, make sure that they don't get access to content that you're not comfortable with.
And you guys recently released the Deco P7, which is described as the world's most powerful hybrid mesh and power line system that will deliver ultra-fast and secure and stable Wi-Fi coverage, supporting backhaul with power line technology. Now, it looks ideal for those who run a home Wi-Fi system, especially living in a house with multi-stories or dense walls. But can you tell me a little bit more about it and who your target audience is?
Yes.
Certainly.
So particularly this will be our first Deco unit, which will be having the hybrid power line technology, and the target audience is just like the home for our UK home users. And say suppose sometimes people in their home, they don't want long Ethernet cables to be plugged from the router to the other end of the house. So that would be the Deco P7 most comfortable with just plugging into the power sockets, and then the rest of them will be done by the power line technology.
So it's a great idea for families, for example, where you might have, as you say, multiple stories. And for example, you've got like a kid's room with an Xbox or a PlayStation or something. If you have got thick walls, it means that you can use the electrical cabling in your house to get the internet signal to those hard to reach places. It's also really good for anyone who happens to work from home, because again, quite often home workers are shoved in a corner out of the main house or in a shed at the bottom of the garden. So you can use the electrical cabling to actually get the power, the internet to those hard to reach places as well.
So for most people listening, whether they're in a business or they're in their own home with their home network, everyone's going to have three simple requirements really, which are connectivity, security and simplicity. So can you talk me through how TP-Link helps your clients actually achieve those goals?
So in terms of connectivity, we have very reliable connections with Wi-Fi, or whether setting up any of our products. Security, all of our Deco or any of our devices are well secured with passwords, and we do have the WPA2, WPA personal, that the standard that we use for the security, which is well secured. And also in terms of simplicity, as most of the users know that all of our TP-Link devices, when you go to set them up, they are pretty straightforward, very friendly. The graphical user interface is very simple. Even if anybody doesn't know how to do that, at every of the graphical user interface page, there will be a question mark. It's like a help button, so people know what to do.
Now, Will Ferrell once famously said that before you marry a person, you should first make them use a computer with slow internet. That's the only way to see who they really are. Slow internet really does bring out the worst in people, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And as someone who has teens in the house, you can imagine internet connectivity is a very, very high priority. I have to say that I use the TP-Link's Deco products at home simply because if I have got a bunch of teens around who are all trying to play Fortnite at the same time, I can direct the majority of the wireless to them and just save a little smattering for myself while I'm working from home.
So, well, like I said a few moments ago, our homes now have more connected devices than our office did 10 years ago. And the only difference is, of course, is we don't have an IT department at home. But this is what really fascinated me about what you've released here, because I recently read how TP-Link has released Home Care with the tagline, when your Wi-Fi isn't safe, your family isn't safe. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes. So our Home Care includes features such as parental controls, where the parents can monitor their kids' activities. Plus, there is quality of service, where you can divide the bandwidth for each users in the house. The most important thing about our home care is that we provide 3 years of antivirus within the products. So it is free for 3 years. You have like free antivirus within your Wi-Fi for the security.
So that means that everything that's connected to your network is protected. So if you think about the normal way that you would buy antivirus and malware, it's per device that you want to secure, whereas actually having it built into the router means that any device that connects to your network is protected. So, for example, in my case, where I've got teens wandering into the house with their phones, if they have a phone that has malware on it, that will actually get quarantined so that my network doesn't get affected in any way. So what we've done is actually team up with Trend Micro to provide the antivirus and malware protection, so that, like I say, if you've got visitors coming in, you've got the added protection of and peace of mind to know that you're not going to be attacked, you're not going to have malware or any of those other nasty things. And also stuff like smart TVs. There is no antivirus for a smart TV, yet it has access to the internet. They are all covered by the antivirus and the anti-malware.
Now, you painted a great picture a few moments ago of having a busy household where you've got lots of teenagers in there, and people are going to be streaming Netflix, they're going to be watching YouTube, and you've probably even got gamers that are moaning about that their ping is too high and affecting their performance on Fortnite. And we will have many gamers with families that like to hog all the bandwidth within a home, and that causes problems with their favourite pastimes. But I've seen that TP-Link is getting great reviews at the moment with a recently released gaming router. I mean, can you tell me a bit more about that? Because it seems to be getting a lot of great feedback.
Yes, so the latest gaming router that we have released is the Archer C5400X. Now, what is best thing about this for gamers is it actually has a very strong tri-band Wi-Fi along with 9 Ethernet ports. Also, if the gamers use this, they also can segregate the Wi-Fi from the normal household Wi-Fi for other users. And using quality of service, they can allocate more bandwidth to themselves for gamers, so they have good bandwidth for their gaming and keep the rest of small bandwidth for the rest of the household.
So I've got to ask, I mean, what's next for TP-Link? It seems like you've got all the bases covered at the moment. So is there anything else that you can share with us about the next 12 months and beyond?
Certainly. So smart home is a massive industry, and it's something that a lot of people are adopting. What we see is that people are, certainly this time of year when the clocks change, people are very intrigued by the idea of smart light bulbs. Not only have you got the LED sort of energy saving element to it, but you've got the extra features like being able to schedule lights to come on and come off at specific times. Obviously, colour changing is a great bit of fun, especially around Halloween. It is, if you like, a gateway into the rest of the smart home world. So people then start to look at smart plugs, for example, again, being able to schedule, for example, standard lamps, or my personal favourite is slow cookers. So it means that I can put my slow cooker to come on halfway through the afternoon, which means I've got a lovely hot stew waiting for me and the kids when I get home from work. Little things like that really make your life that bit easier. So we briefly talked about a range of routers called the Deco, and we've recently released the Deco M9 Plus. This is the same mesh technology that in the other Deco routers, but this time it includes Zigbee technology, which means that it can replace the hubs or the smart home hubs of certain other smart home brands. So that means you can do away with lots of extra hardware in the house, and also you can control lots of smart home devices through one single app rather than having to dip in and out of lots of different apps. This is particularly useful in the feature called scenes. So, for example, you can set up a movie night scene, which would turn off particular lights that provide glare onto your TV screen, or turn the lighting to a particular setting. Maybe if you've got a Nest thermostat, it would tweak the heating up or down, and you can use it to prioritise movie traffic to your TV so that you have the smoothest possible streaming experience. All of these things just make life a little bit easier for people and give them that additional control, as well as obviously the peace of mind of knowing that it's got antivirus and malware cover. It just gives that simplicity, because I don't know about you, but dipping in and out all of the various apps from different providers can be a bit of a pain.
Yeah, it really can. The landscape is incredibly fragmented now, whether you've got an Alexa or an Apple HomeKit or Google Home. There's just so many different devices. And I know over the years a lot of people have ended up with a lot of bridges on their network. So they've got a bridge for their Philips system, a bridge for the Sonos system. It just goes on and on. It's just so complicated. I think we've covered so much ground today, but if there's anyone listening that wants to find out more about what you guys do, can you just remind the listeners of where they can find you online, and also maybe contact a member of your team if you've got any questions?
Certainly. So if you want to come through to the TP Link team, you can either find us on social media. So that's TP Link UK on Twitter and Facebook, or TP Link Gaming on Twitter as well. Otherwise, our website is tp-link.com/UK. You will probably be directed there anyhow, or you can email us at sales.uk@tp-link.com.
Fantastic. Well, I think over the last few years, we've seen our whole lifestyle and homes transformed by technology, which of course began with connecting a laptop, a smartphone and a tablet to the internet. But now, well, of course, we've got YouTube, Netflix, smart TV, slow cookers, home heating, lighting, and the list goes on. And we kind of just expect that internet to work and cover all those devices. And it's not until something goes wrong that you really appreciate how much technology rules our lives. But more than anything, just a big thank you to both of you for coming on and sharing your story today. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
I love the serendipity of what made today's show possible. For me, just daydreaming, looking at a smart plug and a Wi-Fi extender in my home, to a conversation that is beamed to 165 countries. This is what I love about technology. And it's not until you look back just a few years ago and compare how you used to live to all those devices that are connected to your home Wi-Fi now, whether it be streaming, entertainment, smart fridges, digital assistants, slow cookers, home heating, lighting, and even toasters, is eye-opening to say the least. But we never stop to think about just how much has changed. And yes, tech change is moving at breakneck speed, and it can be a struggle to keep up. But the reality is, it's never going to go this slow again. So try to imagine what life's going to be like in another 5 years from now. What I'd like you to do is send me your Jetsons lifestyle predictions of what excites you and what concerns you about the future of technology in our homes and our offices. And you can do that by emailing me techblogwriter@outlook.com, or send me a tweet at Neil C. Hughes. And of course there's my website, techblogwriter.co.uk/podcast, if you'd just like to push the button and leave me a virtual voicemail that we can play on the show. So keep your questions, insights, or just comments coming over to my mailboxes, and I'll get straight back to you. Unless it's a sales pitch, of course. So a big thank you to Emma and Clive for coming on the show and highlighting not only the latest range of TP-Link products, but just how much our lives have changed through technology over the last 10 years. And last but by no means least, a very warm thank you to each and every one of you, wherever you are listening in the world, for tuning into this show and putting up with my crazy random thoughts of seeing a device in the corner and inviting someone for me to talk to and you to eavesdrop on. So I'll return tomorrow with another great guest, but until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.